Hey everyone, Gary of the Elysiums here. Welcome back to one of my new CD purchases video. This is part 47. Got a stack of, I think it was 21 CDs here. Now before we get in this video, do me a favor. Please hit that subscribe button, like this video, feel free to share the video. All that stuff helps me and gives me much motivation to keep doing these videos just because I love talking about music and I love sharing music with you guys. Anyway, we're going to get right into this video. Coming up first is Elvis Costello's debut album, My Aim Is True. Now, I do own this album, but this is the Rhino remaster from 2001, which features a bonus disc. There was a good amount of Elvis Costello's catalog remastered for this by Rhino. And I remember I owned this at one point. I bought this, I want to say around 2004, a little after the Rolling Stone 500 Greatest Albums of All Time magazine came out, because this was in here along with Imperial Bedroom, This Year's Model, and Armed Forces. So I remember buying Armed Forces just because I liked the cover. I thought the cover was cool. Not the elephant cover, it was the other side with the, that looks like, it's not spray painting, but it looks like someone painted it on it. And then this. So I remember grabbing these two at Tower Records back in 2004. And listening to them in the car, and I fell in love with Armed Forces, and that's still my favorite Elvis Costello album. And at the time, I did get This Year's Model on vinyl, which back then no one listened to vinyl, so it was like $1. And I didn't get Imperial Bedroom until a few years later. But I don't know what happened to those CDs. I must have sold them or traded them somewhere, back then. So I'm glad to have this back in my collection, and hopefully I can find the other 2-disc remasters for a good price somewhere. Next, we have the Goo Goo Dolls, the Greatest Hits, Volume 1, the singles. I'm a big fan of the early Goo Goo Dolls, like the stuff they did on Metal Blade Records. They did Jed, Superstar Car Wash, that stuff. This is basically everything from the A Boy Named Goo album up until 2007. So you have about 95 to 2007, so about 12-year span here. There's a new version of Name, which that song is amazing. I don't care what anyone says. I still love that song. And the one thing I noticed is that Long Way Down is not on here, which I think is one of their best songs. So I don't know why they omitted that from the album. Next, we have Bruce Dickinson with Scream For Me, Brazil. This is the concert from the Chemical Wedding Tour. And what's cool about it is it features Adrian Smith also on guitar. And there's no Iron Maiden covers on here. Everything is Bruce Dickinson solo from a solo career. Some great tracks on here like The Chemical Wedding, Killing Floor, Tears of the Dragon, Accent of Birth, great song there. The Road to Hell, cool stuff there. I don't know, I like it. I know the album cover is kind of stupid, but I kind of like it. I think it's pretty cool. Obviously, this was released in 1999, so obviously they would leave. Bruce and Adrian Smith would rejoin Iron Maiden for the Brave New World album, and the huge tour, and the rest is history. Next, we have Chvel with Sci-Fi Crimes. I didn't even know about this album. This was released in 2009. I bought Wonder What's Next when it came out, and the second album, what's the second album called? I forget. This type of thing you could do a sin. And that's all I know from Chvel. I didn't really get into anything else. So I'm looking forward to checking this out and see how I like it. One thing I thought was funny inside, and I wanted to somehow look up Wikipedia and see what's going on here. But Pete, the vocalist and the guitarist, would like to thank his wife, Renee, and his girlfriend, Shanice. So I'm wondering what's going on there. Does he have a wife and a girlfriend and they know about each other? Is it like a Mormon and what do you call it, sister wives thing? I don't know what's going on there. If you know, leave it in the comments. And then we have Alter Bridge with Walk the Sky. Alter Bridge, a great band. I just never really got into them. I got into them when they came out with Metal Angus. Is still an awesome song. I still think it's their best song. But I didn't really follow them album to album. This is a 2019 release. So looking forward to checking this out. For those of you that don't know, Alter Bridge is actually Creed, the band, minus Scott Stapp on vocals. So you got Mark Tremonti, Scott Phillips. Well, I'm forgetting the last guy's name. Sorry about that. I forget the drummer's name. And Miles Kennedy on vocal. So it's basically Creed featuring Miles Kennedy on vocal. Miles Kennedy, awesome solo career. He sang with Slash. Scott Phillips is the drummer. Brian Marshall, the bass player. Totally blanked out there. So yeah, looking forward to checking this out. And if you're not a fan of Creed, this doesn't sound like Creed. They are a heavy band, and it's got Miles Davis, I was about to say. Miles Kennedy, who's an awesome hard rock vocalist. So check this out if you haven't heard of Alter Bridge yet. Next, we have a bootleg CD I found for $1. This is Riviera by Weezer. This was recorded on November 16th of 1996. So you have everything from the Blue Album and Pinkerton on there. 18 tracks, plus a couple extra stuff that aren't on those albums. So I thought this was really cool. Didn't see this at Discogs, so it's obviously not a... sometimes the bootlegs are featured on Discogs. Nothing here, no UPC. So I don't know how this sounds yet. I didn't listen to it. I mean, the packaging is made very well. So I'm curious to hear how it sounds. And then this guy, I don't own anything by for some reason. Rick Springfield. This is Rick Springfield's greatest hits. So I figured I'd pick this up. And, obviously I know Jesse's Girl and I've Done Everything for You, which was written by Sammy Hagar. Became a hit for Rick Springfield. I prefer Sammy version better. Use the original RCA album there. So I want to listen to the other 10 tracks on here that I'm not familiar with and see what songs I actually do know and I have heard before and see how I like it. And next we have People Are People. It's a maxi single from Depeche Mode, and man, I'm a huge Depeche Mode fan. I grab everything by them that I see. As you can see, the number 10 there. This was in the early 90s. They did something like they released a bunch of maxi singles. I think it was part of a box set, or you bought the singles and they went into like a box. I can't really remember what it was. Maybe I should have looked it up. But only 4 tracks in here. You have People Are People and In Your Memory. Then you have a different mix of People Are People. It's literally called Different Mix. And In Your Memory, the Slick Mix. And following that up, Just Can't Get Enough. You see there's number 3 of that singles series. See on the back there, obviously it has Just Can't Get Enough, Any Second Now, and then a schizo mix of Just Can't Get Enough, and an altered mix of Any Second Now. Kind of like the, I was looking at, on the back they show, well that one's the same, but on the back they show it colorized. This one I can't really make out. It looks like someone in with like a burlap sack over their head and tied. I'm not sure what's going on there, but the back features a cat. I think that cover looks a lot cooler. All right, next up, this is one from my Lamb of God discography that I didn't own. This is Resolution, released in 2012. This is a Best Buy exclusive deluxe edition, 2 CD set. So the second disc is actually live from the Wrath Tour of 2009 and 2010. And really nice set list there. Set the Foul, Walk With Me in Hell, Hourglass, Now You've Got Something to Die For, Ruin, As the Palaces Burn, what else on there? Laid to Rest, Redneck, Black Label. Really, really good set there. So I think I'm very excited to pick this up over the regular standard version. Next we have XYZ. This is their debut album that was released in 1989. XYZ, awesome hard rock band. Obviously you could tell there by the cover they're lumped in with the hair metal. But being that this came out in 1989, it's towards the end of hair metal, and unfortunately these guys didn't get the praise they deserve. Produced by Don Dokken. So being that he is the producer, you do get more of that, harder rock and Dokken sound. Rocking with Dokken, rather than a typical like Poison hair metal sound or something like that. Really good album. Check it out if you haven't heard of these guys. Next we have Van Halen. This is the newest album from them. This is Live in Dallas, 1991. And from listening to it, it was a free concert because Sammy says it over and over again on the CD. Took place on December 4th, 1991 at West End Marketplace. 11 tracks on there, no booklet or anything, just a basic, digipack with the hard plastic on there. If you're going to make a digipack, I kind of prefer this than sliding it in and having to rip the pack to get it out. This one I was excited to find. Some Enchanted Evening, the Deluxe Legacy Edition from Blue Oyster Cult. Features the original album plus, let's see what we got here, 7 bonus tracks. And then the second disc is actually a DVD of Some Other Enchanted Evening, which was a bootleg back in the day. And they actually officially released it on DVD as part of this. So pretty cool to have this. And this is basically Blue Oyster Cult at their peak. I prefer the first 3 albums by Blue Oyster Cult. I feel like they're the best for me. But this is after, Don't Fear the Reaper was all over the radio. And they were, now a household name. So really looking forward to checking that DVD out. I had the CD already, but I got to pick up the Legacy Edition. I think I have I think my CD version is a music on CD release. I know it's not the original Epic Columbia label. I'm pretty sure it's music on CD. All right, next up was something I found in dollar bins. Jefferson Airplane with Airplane Farm. This was recorded live at the Family Dog in San Francisco, September 7th, 1969. As you can see there's a couple jams with Jerry Garcia to end it. So this did not have a UPC. I could tell it's obviously a bootleg. And when I looked on Discogs, I don't sell on Discogs. I don't really sell any of my CDs unless I get doubles. But when I looked on Discogs, I Googled this to see, to basically I was categorizing it in, my catalog to see what I own already. So if I'm out there, I'll be like, oh, I do have that. And it turns out this is actually a Japanese import. And it goes for $39.99. So definitely got it for a steal at $1. I'm sure the person selling it did not realize that. Next, we have Ghost with Ceremony and Devotion. This is that live CD I spoke about in my Ghost video that I did not own. 2-disc set. And what's cool about this is the booklet actually tells you all the cities, states, countries, venues, and the dates that Ghost played on this tour from 2016 throughout 2017. And being that I am from Philadelphia, I'm familiar with the arenas and the venues. So they played the Union Transfer in Philadelphia, which is a smaller place, awesome place to see a band. I absolutely love it. But knowing how big Ghost the band is, that's kind of weird they played a smaller place like that. Next year they played the Wells Fargo Center, which is a huge up. That's where the Flyers and the Sixers play, so that's our arena. The only way to go higher than that is to play the Eagles or the Philly Stadium, the Link, or Citizens Bank Park, which is saved for the likes of like Billy Joel and Metallica, Paul McCartney, huge names. So pretty cool that within a year they played this, a couple thousand venue to this couple hundred thousand people venue. Pretty cool. And then I finally picked this EP up, and it completes everything from Ghost. This is if you have Ghost. I don't read it backwards. It looks like I said if you dare Ghost. It was released under Ghost BC because of that little lawsuit that was going on, or trademark. Really cool picture there of Papa. Look at that. That's a cool picture. So cover songs. Couple cover songs on here, and a live version of Secular Haze, which is obviously one of the biggest Ghost songs. And then by Rat, we have this CD, Rarities. This is a 2024 release, Deadline Records. 9 tracks. Again, just your basic digipack with the plastic in there. Similar to that Van Halen. There's a track listing. So yeah, we have some early stuff on here. We have an 82 Rehearsal, Round and Round. a live version of In Your Direction, and then we have live Want It Man, Drive Me Crazy, Body Talk, and a live version of Round and Round. Demo of Love on the Rocks from '89, and a studio version of Tell the World in 1983. The only thing I wish was on here was like a different version of Lay It Down, because that opening riff is one of the greatest riffs ever written in history. I'll die on that hill. Lay It Down, that riff is one of the greatest ever. Alright, now it seems like this has been a staple with all these videos recently. I got to show an Inflames release. So this is the 2021 Nuclear Blast reissue of the Jester Race, and it features the Black Ash Inheritance EP. I'm a big Inflames fan, and I realized I'm missing a good amount of their albums from my collection, so I figured I should pick up some more stuff. This is an early release. It says 2002, but I know it wasn't released then. This is from the 90s. I can't remember what year it actually came out. And then here we have King Biscuit Flower Hour, The Romantics. For those of you unfamiliar, I believe King Biscuit Flower Hour is a show over in England. I wasn't alive for it. Or maybe I was, but I didn't know of it yet. I thought it was from England, but now I'm reading it back. It's saying, I should look this up before I talked. It was an FM radio station, broadcast over FM radio station. But this concert was never before released, and it took place on October 30th, 1983 in San Antonio, Texas. Really nice track listing there. You get 17 songs featuring my favorite romantic song, Talking in Your Sleep. Of course, they're going to do What I Like About You, and that's a song I don't need to hear again. So I was excited to check this out. And the one I was missing and didn't even realize I was missing it. Queen plus Paul Rodgers, The Cosmo Rocks. Excuse me. Now, when I say Queen, it's just Brian May and Roger Taylor. No John Deacon, and obviously no Freddie. You know, they had a little bit of success with Paul Rodgers, but not as much success as they had with Adam Lambert filling in for Freddie. I think because Adam Lambert, his range is a little closer to Freddie's than Paul Rodgers. Paul Rodgers, obviously, one of the greatest hard rock vocalists of all time. But I think Adam Lambert has more of the range and more of the show, closer to Freddie, which people like to go see. All right, last CD. Another one I had to add. Miles Davis, Someday My Prince Will Come. Miles Davis has so many albums out there, and this is one with John Coltrane, who is my favorite jazz artist of all time. This is the Columbia remaster, and anytime I see these remasters, I have to pick them up. Just because I love anything by Miles Davis or John Coltrane. And what's cool is this little booklet, promo booklet, which came inside, which, you know, basically tells you everything of Miles Davis' discography. There's his box sets, little story, and then there's a picture of all the Columbia albums, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I'm a big jazz fan. Like I said, especially, so when it comes to jazz, I do like jazz fusion, but just traditional jazz, Miles Davis, John Coltrane, Ornette Coleman, all those guys are amazing. All right, everyone, that's it for the video. I'd really appreciate you watching. I'll check you next video. So just one thing I want to mention real quick. If you hit the subscribe button, you get updates every time I make a video. I have a lot of ideas in my head, and they're going to be videos that are pretty soon. As you can see, there's some gaps in my CDs because I'm piling up ideas for videos, and I have a lot coming up. So hit that subscribe button so you get updates every time I release a video. And like I said, I'll see you next video. Thank you.